I think we're well over 20 candidates now. 20 high-profile candidates in the Democratic primary, and all of them are trying to generate enough money to both get on the debate stage and run a successful campaign. And so we have been committed to going through them one by one and delving into how exactly they're getting their money. And it's time for the 10th installment of our series. And joining us once again from the Center for Public Integrity, Dave Leventhal. Welcome back to the Damage Report.
Hey, John, good to be with you.
Good to have you here. And so today we're going to be talking about US Senator Michael Bennet. He's one of the candidates that I think it's safe to say that our audience is probably going to be the least familiar with. So right off the bat, what should people know about him and his background, his experience?
Well, first of all, he's a U.S. senator, so in any other presidential race, that would kind of be a big thing. Now we have multiple U.S. senators, of course, running, whether it's Cory Booker or Elizabeth Warren, former senators, and Joe Biden. Of course, there's Bernie Sanders, people who wanted to be senators, and Beto O'Rourke. But Michael Bennet, not exactly a household name if you're outside of Colorado, the state that he's been a senator in for the better part of 10 years, and somebody who is very popular in the state. Somebody who has made a name for himself there, but right now is polling right around the 1% mark in this historically crowded race for the Democratic presidential nomination. So whether Michael Bennet is going to be able to elevate himself beyond just the second, third tier of candidates remains to be seen. He just got in this race. He's just putting together his operation, but it's going to be a very difficult path for him or any of the other candidates who don't have a bigger profile, don't have more money to draw from initially, and don't already have operations going in some of the early states like New Hampshire and Iowa, South Carolina, Nevada, where the proving ground really is going to become 9 months from now when votes start taking place, John.
Yeah, I don't envy him or many of the others the task of trying to push into, I would say, even the second or third tier, but he's going to give it a go. And I think that with more and more candidates, I guess the risk of getting involved yourself is less and less. I'll probably declare next week. What's the difference? I might
should be a ticket.
Let's do it. You know what? Let's declare president, VP. We'll figure out one way or the other.
Sure.
And I think we can do this thing. So for Michael Bennet, I was actually surprised. I was talking with your colleague Sarah Kleiner yesterday about Joe Biden. I had thought that he was more independently wealthy than he was, which is helpful in a candidacy like this. For Michael Bennet, what about personal wealth, past money that he's raised and hasn't used yet? What can he draw on going into this primary?
So by U.S. Senate standards, he's pretty middle of the pack. He's almost at the median, and so he's not hurting for cash. Okay, so you can measure his wealth probably in the high 6, low 7-figure range, but he's not the kind of candidate where he can come into a race and say, "Hey, I'm going to self-fund. I'm going to dump in $10 million of my own money." He's not somebody like a Ross Perot 25 years ago, or for that matter, a Donald Trump more recently. He's not going to be able to do that. Now, he does have one thing that is interesting. In U.S. Senate candidates and U.S. House candidates, they have the ability to transfer money from their House or their Senate campaign accounts to a presidential campaign account. And Michael Bennet has that ability too. He's got about $1.5 million left over from his previous Senate run. So by virtue of that, if he wanted to, he can shift that cash over into his presidential fund. And hey, that's some good kickoff money. He's going to have to raise a lot more in order to be competitive, but at least that gives you a good start, and it at least paves the way for you to run an operation over what's going to be a very, very long period of time. I mean, again, it's 9 months until the first vote, and these candidates are going to have to actually run their campaigns in between now and then. That's a long interim period, to say the least.
Dave, talk to us a little bit about Colorado as a state, right? Not very long ago, it was red. Obama made it purple, and now we do consider it a blue state. What does that mean for the policies coming out of there and some of the money that's coming out of Colorado?
Sure. Colorado is a very interesting state. It was a state that I covered fairly closely during the 2004 and 2008 presidential campaigns when I was with the Dallas Morning News, and got to know the people there fairly well. And it's definitely a state that has a very strong business community, but at the same time is very progressive, very liberal in certain regards, not the least of which is being at the vanguard of issues like medical marijuana and then recreational marijuana. So as a result of that, Michael Bennet, being a Democrat, as somebody who is very much in line with sort of the leanings of the population as it is right now. But that being said, there are still plenty of Democrats there who may not be to the left of the left. They may be more centrist. And Michael Bennet, I think you can fairly say, is going to not be on the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party right now. He's somebody who definitely has ties to the business community. He's received a lot of money from various business interests and people who have ties to business during his Senate career. So similar to Joe Biden, he's not somebody who is definitely going to be in the, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wing of the Democratic Party either at this point in time.
Colorado itself as a state also has a lot of like meat packers and cattle ranchers that he has to represent, and also big oil interests there, given their oil shale and fracking interests. So how do you see that, Michael Bennet, navigating that going forward, particularly when it comes to his donor base?
Not something that he's necessarily going to have to worry too much about during a Democratic primary. If you're a deep red Republican and you don't like Michael Bennet, you're not going to have to worry about Michael Bennet until he becomes the nominee of the Democratic Party, were that ever to happen. So at least from that standpoint, he doesn't have a whole lot to worry about. But it kind of speaks to who he is as a senator. He's not somebody who has been a far left flamethrower. He's somebody who definitely, in representing his constituents, is going to be a more moderate Democrat, perhaps a more centrist Democrat, if you will, than some of the other folks who are in the Democratic Party right now, without question.
And it also looks like, based on your write-up, which is available at the Center for Public Integrity, people should definitely go check that out and find out a bunch more facts about his past and where he's been getting money from, the numbers and all of that. It looks like he's gonna have to do a lot more work in generating individual donations if he wants to qualify for the debate stage. And that's gonna be more and more of a challenge as more and more of these candidates come out. Dave, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the work you guys do.
Hey, thanks a lot, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.